I hope you've enjoyed this exercise, and you can literally apply this to any tune. What's up, guys? I think you probably already have seen the video where I was talking about the triads and the circle of fourths. If not, you got to go back, and because this is building on that exercise. So we're going to take the circle of fourths exercise that we started last time and take it to another level and talk about how to apply this to the important notes of chords. So we know probably at this point that the important notes of a chord are the root, because that tells us what chord it is, right? And then we got to know the kind of third it has and the kind of seventh it has. The fifth is less important. If it's sharp, then obviously it's important. If it's flat, it's obviously important. However, most chords, the third and the seventh are going to be those important notes. They're the colorful notes. They're the ones we want to focus on. So a lot of students that I know have trouble getting the information into their brain and have it coming out instantaneously. So when I think about C7, I know what the notes are without having to go, okay, C, E, G, B flat, right? No, we want to go bang, C7, blam, we know it. So one way to do that is to go through this exercise, and we're going to do this. We're going to review what we started last time. We got our metronome on 80. We're going to play around the circle of fourths in a root position. So we're going to play the root melody. We're going to play one time through. We're going to start on F. 1, 2, root melody. There we go. There's our root melody. If you don't know the circle of fourths well enough to do that, make sure you review that enough times so that you feel super comfortable, right? So now what we're going to do is add the major third. 1, 2, major third. Okay, so root and major third, we want those to be undeniably linked in your mind, so that when you think of one, the other one is just there in your mind's ear, in your mind's eye. Now we're going to say, okay, there's the third and the root, but we need one more note. So what I want to do is now, instead of going root third, we're going to go root seventh. And so let's just say, for the sake of argument, we're going to start with major seventh. So it's going to sound like, oh wait, that's a big interval. So maybe let's change it. So how can we change this? What if we drop it down an octave, and then instead of going, we could just go, aha, down a half step, and that's going to help you when you're transposing it around the circle of fourths as well. So here we go. 1, 2, down a step. There's one time all the way around. Okay, so assumably you made it all the way through. If you need to go back, do it again, but I think we can move forward. So what we're going to do is now link them all together. So we're going to go like this. We're going to go root 7th, root 3rd. Now remember, we're doing major 7 here. So down a half step, back to the root, up to the major 3rd, and it's going to lead us smoothly to the next key. Check it out. How about that? So that becomes the root, and then you go back to that 3rd again, and now it's the major 7. Now we're starting to hear and learn about this voice leading stuff that people are talking about. These common tones, you can see which notes stay and which notes change because we're only playing those important notes. So root 7th, root 3rd, all the way around, quarter notes. 1, 2, start on F. Okay, so we made it through. Of course, there's major 7, so there's other types of chords. So let's see if we can extend this as a few other types of chords. So instead of just having to the major 7, let's see if we flat that major 7 to a minor 7. That minor 7 would now be a whole step below. So let's go through one time. Instead of going down a half step to the 7th, let's go down a whole step to the 7th. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we can put that together. Now we have dominant chords. We have that major 3rd and the flat 7. We have all parallel dominant chords. So we're going to start on F, all the way around. Root 7th, root 3rd. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there we go. Now we have those dominant chords. So what can we do with changing one more note? We can change the 3rd to the flat 3rd instead of the major 3rd, and now we can do root 3rd, root 7th, root minor 3rd, and that's going to give us minor 7 chords. Let's do that. If you need to, you could go through and do the half notes, root minor 3rd, root minor 3rd. I'll let you do that on your own. We're going to jump to root 7, root minor 3rd. 1, 2, start on F. Great. So you might be thinking, well, that's all well and good and everything, but how does this relate to music? Well, number one, music tends to move in this direction around the circle of fourths. F goes to B flat, goes to E flat, goes to A flat, goes to D flat, goes to G flat, goes to C flat or B major. B goes to E, goes to A, right? So it's a 5 going to 1. It's the very normal motion. It relates to a lot of tunes, and it's going to be the root that comes next oftentimes. So we're going to take this, we're going to put it into the context of something where we can actually use it. So let's talk about an F blues, right? Talk about making this pattern into an F blues. It's quarter notes, it's going to sound like a walking bass line. So now we're responsible for the roots, the thirds and sevenths, and the time. How about that? What we're going to do is quarter notes just like we did, and we'll go root seventh, root third, and we're going to move it around, right? So in a blues, we're going to do a simple blues to start, but you can make it as complicated as you want as you move forward through this progression. And so we're going to go 4 bars of the 1 chord, 2 bars of the 4 chord, 2 bars of the 1 chord, and then a 2-5-1 at the end. So they're all dominant except for 1 chord. That's the 2 chord. When we get the 2 chord, that's going to be minor 7. We've played all these already, so we just got to think what goes where. So in the key of F, we have F. The 4 chord is B flat. The 1 chord again, F, 7, right? And then we have 2-5-1, G minor 7, C7, F, 7. All right, so we're going to take that pattern and plug it into those places over the blues. Keeping our quarter note the same as we just did. Here we go, 1 chorus, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now what we're going to do, make it a little bit more complicated. Keep the tempo the same, but now we're going to add a 4 chord in the 2nd bar. We're going to add the 5 of 2 in the 8th bar, so 5 of 2. So 2 is G minor, 5 of that 2, G is D7, right? So 5 of 2, G minor being that 2, find the 5 chord, it's D7. So also dominant chords. So now we got 1, 4, 1, 1, 4, 4, 1, 6, or 5 of 2 at D7, and then we're going to got 2, 5, 1. All right, and we're going to add a 5 in the last bar to set us back up to the top. So now we're just being additive here. We're just making it slightly more difficult each time. Same tempo. Let's see if you can do it. 1, 2, 3. So there we go, 2 choruses of blues using our 1, 7, 1, 3 pattern. Just to recap everything that we did, it's to get all these notes so that they're instantaneous in our brains and we can use them to help define the chord changes, the 7th and the 3rd and the root. So we're trying to group them all together in our mind. So we did major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, those 3 versions, right? And we went through and applied it to a F blues. You could do it in any key that you want. And then you could instantly just say, okay, instead of this being quarter notes, let's just do this as 2 and 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. You can literally apply this to any tune, and then you can start jumping around octaves. You can start creating your own bass lines. You could get with a partner and start to improvise bass lines for one another. This is a great exercise to, 1, create the building blocks of understanding chord changes and what notes go with what roots, and starting to walk a bass line, becoming independent of the rhythm section as a horn player, really being able to define the changes, define the time on your own. So thanks for being here. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. If you want to find a PDF of what we worked on, it's down below in the description. So go ahead and download that PDF and get to practicing. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time.